All right, let's talk about what it really takes to master one of the biggest names in the data world, Microsoft SQL Server. We're going to cover the whole journey, from getting a handle on the absolute basics all the way to building some seriously impressive professional projects. Okay, let's kick things off with something you do every single day. Think about your favorite app on your phone. Ever just stop and wonder, where does all your stuff actually go? How does it just know your preferences, your history, everything about you instantly? Or hey, let's think a little bigger. How about a college or a university? How in the world do they keep track of thousands and thousands of student records, all their grades, their class schedules, all at the same time without it just becoming a complete mess? And now for the big one. Imagine a huge company. We're talking millions of transactions every single day. Sales, inventory, customer info. It's a massive, massive amount of data to handle. So what's the secret sauce here? Well, the answer for all of these scenarios lies in tools like Microsoft SQL Server. It's like the powerful, invisible engine running behind the scenes of, well, pretty much everything. It's the architecture that makes our digital world tick. So the big question is, how do you learn to use a tool that powerful? Well, like with anything worth learning, you've got to start with a rock-solid foundation. You need to get the basics down cold before you can start tackling the really interesting stuff. And that foundation really starts with learning the language. First up, you've got the select statement. That's basically how you ask the database a question. Then you learn group by, which lets you sort of clump that information into useful summaries. After that, subqueries, for when you need to ask a question inside of another question. And then there's joins. This is where the real magic happens, letting you connect different pieces of data together. Think of these as your essential toolkit. Okay, so once you've got those building blocks in place, it is time to level up. This is where you go from just asking basic questions to actually designing smart, elegant solutions. You really start to think like a pro. And the big shift here, it's all about working smarter, not just harder. See, it's not enough to just find the answer anymore. Now, the goal is to find it in the smartest, most efficient way you possibly can. This is where you go from doing things the hard way to using professional methods. Instead of writing the same queries over and over, you use stored procedures to save them as reusable tools. Instead of wrestling with messy queries, you use what are called CTEs to make them clean and logical. And you'll use powerful things like window functions to do complex analysis super efficiently. It's a total game changer. But look, reading about this stuff is one thing. Theory is, well, it's just theory, right? Real growth, the stuff that actually sticks, that happens when you get your hands dirty and actually build something with what you've learned. And that's why seeing the whole picture, that end-to-end project workflow, is so critical. You'll see how to take data from Microsoft SQL Server, connect it to something like Power BI, and then walk through the entire process, cleaning and transforming it. A complete project from start to finish. This is how you really learn, by doing. So at this point, you're probably asking yourself, okay, but is this journey actually for me? Well, here's the thing. This is for pretty much anyone who's curious about how data works. It doesn't matter if you're a school student, in college, a total beginner looking for a change, or heck, just anyone who wants to peek behind the curtain. If you're ready to start from square one and build some real skills, then yep, you're in the right place. And the real goal here, it's not just about memorizing some commands. It's about getting to a point where you don't just understand SQL, but you're actually comfortable using it, where it feels less like a chore and more like a creative tool to solve problems. The whole approach really just comes down to this. You're going to learn, you're going to practice, and then you're going to build. It's that simple. Because once you have these skills, things change. You're not just using technology anymore. You're creating with it. The door is wide open. So the only real question left is, what amazing project are you going to build first?